What's up everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls. I almost said Demon Souls, I'm still kind of in the habit of saying welcome back to Let's Play Demon Souls. The item I just picked up, Humanity, is a new addition to the game. It replaces the world tendency and character tendency. I'll get way more into that later. For now though, I'm gonna explore around our hub area, Firelink Shrine, and find a few things. I will talk about Humanity and more in-depth mechanics more in later episodes. For now, though, I'm going to head up to, I think his name is Petrus, and we're going to join our first covenant. There he is. Petrus? Petrus, what are you?
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thurland. Have you business with us? If not, I'd prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
Petrus, of course your name is the one I didn't try.
Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance. But I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this, as a token of peace. No, go ahead. It's for you.
You can't buy me off that easily.
Oh my, you again. Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles? Would that please you? Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods. Now let me share my miracles. Only their ultimate effectiveness will be determined by your efforts and your faith.
So covenants are another new addition to Dark Souls, and the one I just joined is called Way of the White. Covenants are factions you can align yourself with, and I think there are 9 of them in the game, and you get different benefits depending on the covenant you join, and they all have unique traits. Some of them are PvP specific, some give you access to spells and miracles.
Come again. The effectiveness of the teaching.
You can also raise your rank within each covenant, except Way of the White. I think Way of the White is the only one that does not have any of its own ranks. When you rank up within a covenant, you unlock better rewards by completing tasks specific to that covenant. And you can also abandon covenants, you can join new ones, and sometimes you can betray yours. And if you commit some kind of betrayal, the only way to rejoin a covenant is to absolve your sins at an NPC who shows up a little later in the game. Not too much later. Just after the second boss we're gonna fight. And there are also penalties afterwards, but we'll get more into that as we unlock more and more covenants. I'm just up here exploring around Firelink. Way of the White, like I said, has no ranks. While in the Way of the White Covenant, you're more likely to get matched up for co-op with other Covenant members. Co-op, by the way, works exactly the same as it did in Demon Souls with the summoning signs. In fact, all of those online elements are still intact. Covenants can slightly alter how they work, but it's the same otherwise. Also, you don't need to be in a Covenant, you don't need to be in Way of the White to buy that Covenant's items, so it's not super advantageous to be a member. I have heard rumors that are, I think, still unproven, that if you're in Way of the White, you're less likely to be invaded. Oh god, gotta dodge the skeletons here. I just wanted to come down this path to get that soldier soul. I am collecting these souls for a very specific purpose early in the game. There's one more. Now can I dodge the skeletons? E. Yay, I can. Unless one of them leaps at me from behind. No, I will avoid them. They'll chase me down, though. Skeletons don't give a fuck. They'll chase me down. Watch them. I might be able to get them stuck on the pathing so they don't actually stalk me back to the bonfire. But they will follow you. I don't know if they leash either. They do tend to get stuck a lot after the graveyard. Oh, and like I was saying about the Humanity, again, rest assured, I'm going to be pretty thorough with this Let's Play, but I want to try to keep my thoughts straight and give everything enough attention, so I'll explain what Humanity does and all that in another episode. For now, though, I kind of want to focus on some of the big differences between Demon Souls and Dark Souls, like what, not necessarily what's brand spanking new to Dark Souls, but more what it improves on, what it changes from Demon Souls being the spiritual successor to that game and all. Also, the area I just went down, by the way, you're going to be seeing that again. You're probably going to be seeing that a lot because it will become a shortcut later on. I think this cliff leads back to the graveyard area where the skeletons are probably still marauding because this area is a death trap. Before I go on with the differences, though, because I just want to get this off my chest, fuck this whole area. Because from Firelink Shrine, from the bonfire out here, it branches off in 3 main directions. You can go downwards, you can take the spiral staircase downwards towards the New Londo Ruins. You can go upwards to the Undead Parish and the Undead Burg. That's what I'm thinking of, not the Parish. The Parish is a little bit after the Burg. Or you can take the path I was just on, which leads towards the Catacombs, and then further past the Catacombs is the Tomb of Giants, the infamous Tomb of Giants. Those are the 3 main branches that you take off of Firelink Shrine, and then from there it further branches out in a big chaotic way. The most obvious path, the path that you're immediately drawn to go down, is towards the graveyard that leads towards the Catacombs. And you go to the graveyard and you see all these skeletons and you think, oh, obviously I'm on the right path. This is obviously the place I should start out on. This is, I mean, look at this. There are skeletons here. Skeletons are the cute little fuzzy bunny, harmless enemies of video games. I have clearly chosen correctly by going down this path. And then they just flay you. They slice and dice you, and they just make your time in Dark Souls a miserable one. And you can fight them, and I did the first time I played Dark Souls. I fought the skeletons, and boy was that a mistake. Because you can spend all of your time fighting the skeletons, and you can win. I always want to emphasize that. You can win. You can always win. But you're clearly not meant to. You're not meant to approach the skeletons at this point in the game. You're supposed to go up to the Undead Burg first, and then tackle the areas that branch out from the Burg. And then you leave the graveyard and the catacombs for down the line. You can come back around the middle of the game and it'll be way, way easier. But if you do that first, odds are, unless you are experienced and prepared and you know how tough those skeletons are, they are going to wreck you. And it's not pretty at all. And the reason I came down here, if you have this is something that you can only do if you have the master key. You go down the spiral staircase I was talking about towards the New Londo Ruins, and you can open up a little back door there. It's the shortcut that leads out here into the Valley of Drakes, and you can just very, very slowly and cautiously approach the undead Drake back there. And if you're slow and you're not too ambitious with what you're going after, you can pick up that Astorish straight sword, which is a really, really handy item to have this early in the game, and it's the reason I wanted to get all those souls, because I think it has a 16 or an 18 faith requirement, so I'm going to need to do some early leveling up in order to wield that thing, but it pays off because that is an awesome, awesome weapon. I think if you go for the other item that the dragon is guarding on the left side, he'll wake up. You might be able to get it. I can't remember what it is. I'll go back and kill that dragon later and get all of his treasure. One second, I'm gonna finish that after I talk to this NPC. So this guy is our early game blacksmith.
You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't pry. I'm Rickett of Vinheim. I was once an established smith, but look at me now. Can you believe it? What is it? Have you? Oh no. Don't worry. I've no intention of escape. It's safe here. Can't bear the thought of going hollow out there. Although, I must admit, Not much to occupy myself. How about this? I could forge your weapons, albeit with rather minimal tools. I'll show you what made me the best in Vinheim. What is it?
And then the other item he guards with his right claw. If you go after that one, he's gonna wake up every time. You can't really get that without alerting him, and he will kill you this early in the game. If you're lucky, he won't kill you, but usually he will. Anyway, on with all those differences I wanted to talk about in the first place. So here are some of the minor differences, and I guess some of the minor additions. Unlike in Demon's Souls, where you couldn't jump unless... there were a couple sections where you could kind of do a little Ocarina of Time auto-jump over a gap or something like that. Dark Souls adds the ability to jump from a sprint. All you have to do is hold the circle button down, or B, whatever your preference is, for a short time, just enough to build up a little momentum, and then tap it again and you'll do a hop forward. There are also the newly added plunging attacks, and I think there's also a new leap attack. I can't remember if that was in Demon's Souls. If it was, I never used it. The plunging attack you saw demonstrated against the tutorial boss last episode. One thing that I love that Dark Souls does is they took away the equipment burden. If you remember back in Demon's Souls, there were two types of burden. There was an item burden, and there was an equipment burden. The item burden was the maximum... Wait, no, I'm sorry, I have this mixed up. There's no longer an item burden. There's still an equip burden. Forget what I just said. So back in Demon's Souls, there was an equip burden and an item burden. The item burden limited the maximum amount you could carry on your person at any given time. And there were penalties associated with going over that. Like you would, if you were over 100% item burden, like the items you have in your inventory, you would slow down. You wouldn't be able to dodge roll anymore. You wouldn't be able to do any of that stuff. Equipment burden is still in the game, and it functions slightly differently, but I can't really remember the nuances of that right now, so we'll get into equipment burden and the different levels, the different ways it affects you in this game, because it's a lot more in depth than it was in Demon's Souls. It affects you in more ways. Well, it affects you in the same ways, it just... it's kind of hard to explain. Anyway, head's not really clear enough to talk about that right now. There's also, when you get a status ailment, in Demon's Souls it never showed you how long the status ailment was going to last, or how close you were to being afflicted. Like if you were running through the poison swamps in, say, 5-2, the second level of the Valley of Defilement, you just kind of had to guess based on your poison resist how long you could stay in the swamps before you actually got poisoned. And then you also kind of just had to guess when it would finally run out. In Dark Souls, you get a little bar when you start to get afflicted by a status ailment, and when that bar fills up, that's when you finally succumb to it. And then it also, that bar stays around once you're afflicted, and it kind of ticks down until it goes away on its own. So that's actually really, really handy. What else has Dark Souls added? Dark Souls added the ability to slide down ladders, just a handy little convenience. It's obviously improved the graphical fidelity of the game a whole heaping load. Actually makes Demon's Souls look really ugly by comparison, though a lot of people still argue that Demon's Souls is the more atmospheric game, and it's kind of hard to argue, especially with levels like the Tower of Latria, or worlds like the Tower of Latria. Unlike Demon's Souls, Dark Souls has more of an open world divided by these checkpoint-like bonfires that divide the levels up in the same general manner that the worlds were divided up in Demon's Souls by the Archstones. I do like the more cohesive open world of Dark Souls, though, and it's especially, like, it's really clever the way they implement shortcuts into this huge, huge world, and you really have to see how that works out to get a good appreciation for it. You already saw a few of the shortcuts, actually. Also, new to Dark Souls is the fact that you can now upgrade your armor as well as your weapons. And there are actually some pretty major differences with how upgrading works in this one. I'll get to that. I'll get back to that in just a moment. There are also a lot more optional bosses that are actually proper boss fights in Dark Souls and not just kind of these weird mini bosses like Old King Doran and the dragons were. In fact, there are entire levels in Dark Souls that are completely optional that you have no need to pass through at any point in time. The two classes of spells in Dark Souls, instead of just being spells of miracles, are now pyromancy and miracles, which functionally aren't any different. It's just two different names for the same thing. You need a talisman or a pyromancy flame to cast these now. And then some of the bigger differences, this is what I was talking about before with the weapon upgrading. For starters, basic upgrades now go to plus 15 instead of plus 10. And to add a prefix is now called ascending the weapon, or... yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only weapons. I'm second guessing myself now. Ascended weapons go up to plus 10 now. And the specific upgrades are also different, like tearing, crushing, crescent, all that stuff. They're all new, I think. Not sure if there are any that carried over from Demon Souls. Casting has changed pretty significantly too. If you notice my my stamina and my health bar on the UI, there's no longer a mana bar. Spells, the way it works now, have a different number of charges or uses. Like, for instance, a fireball can be cast 8 times. And there are also attunement slots that kind of act like spell memory or miracle memory slots in a way. The more attunement slots you have, the more spells you can have active. And if you buy extra copies of spells and attune that spell twice, you get twice the number of uses out of it. For instance, a spell that has 8 uses and requires 1 slot. If you have 2 slots and you have 2 copies of that spell, say Fireball, you get 16 uses of it now instead of 8. You get 16 charges. It's kind of a wonky system, and it's a little convoluted to explain. It's one of the few aspects of the game that I actually don't like. It's one of the few changes they made that's... it might be for the worse. I see what they were going for with it, because magic was way too strong in Demon Souls, but this system is just a little bit weird. Let's see, what else? Instead of healing grass now, you see I have a bunch of Estus flasks in my inventory. And you get a set number of Estus flasks that replenish when you rest at bonfire. And the more you kindle a bonfire using humanity, the more Estus flasks you get from it. Estus flasks can also be upgraded to heal more. Ooh, God, forgot about the dragon. Resting at a bonfire, by the way, restores your health, your Estus flasks, like I said, and the number of charges left on your spells. And again, they act as checkpoints. So when you die, you respawn back at a bonfire, the last bonfire you rested at. But the other penalties are still pretty much the same. If you die, you have to go and touch your bloodstain to regain your souls. If you die 2 times in a row without having touched your bloodstain, those souls on your first bloodstain, they're gone. I think that about does it. Oh, you can do some nifty stuff with the bonfires too. You can level up at them. You no longer need to go to an NPC to level up. And you can enhance bonfires so you can repair and upgrade at them. And then there's also some more stuff that we'll get into way later in the game. Possibly if we take an early trip to the catacombs. Who knows? Let's see, what do we have around it? Oh! You're sneaky, dude. Sneaky, sneaky undead. Oh, by the way, before I forget, once again, there are 2 endings to the game, and I'm gonna let you guys decide which one you're gonna see. So just drop a comment with which ending that you want to see me play out. Just don't spoil the actual events of the ending in the comment itself. If you say good or bad or something to that effect, I'll know what you're talking about. Also, there is another choice I would like you guys to vote on, and it's something that I've kind of been agonizing over, even more so than which ending to pick. Because I don't really care which ending I have to choose either way, I've seen both of them. However, this one is a little more interesting than that, because it affects whether or not I personally fight a boss. If you haven't played the game before, you might not know what I'm referring to with this, but if you have, be sure to comment with your vote. So what I'm referring to is, do you guys want to see me fight the boss, the Iron Golem boss, or do you want to see Iron Knight Tarkus fight him? And I have to say, he's a summonable NPC. Watching Tarkus fight this boss is a real treat. Only if you vote for Tarkus, the only thing is, you will not see me fighting him, and I hear my goddamn doorbell. So, with that said, I'm gonna end the episode here, and we will get back on track in just a moment after I answer the door. So, thank you guys for watching, take it easy, have a good one.